All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the July 28th, 2020 Board of Commissioners meeting. And tonight, we're really blessed to have Pastor Matt Petty from the Burn Hickory Baptist Church lead us in the opening prayer, and then Officer Devin Elkhorn from Precinct 4 lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So those who are willing and able, please stand.
Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, tonight we are asking you and you alone to be present in every decision that is made. God, we thank you for the governing bodies that you have established. We thank you for times that we can come together as a community. We thank you for all of the many different areas of government that are represented in this room, and we thank you for the leadership that has been offered for so long for Cobb County. Lord, thank you for health. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for tonight being able to come together as community members, as officials, and as leaders. And we just ask everything that is done here tonight would give you glory, Lord. And it's in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, Officer. All right, well, we have a full slate tonight, so let's start out with some really good things. First of all, the first one, agenda item is to present the 2019 Silver Eagle Award on behalf of the Cobb County Management. And I'll turn the floor over to Stephen White and our County Manager, Dr. McMorris.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. It is with great pleasure that we take a moment tonight to recognize one of our own. For decades, we've been recognizing outstanding service, teamwork, collaboration among our management team. And as we were about to embark on presenting this award, COVID came knocking, and so we've been holding on to this award for quite a while. So it is with pleasure that I ask Stephen, our former recipient, to present the 2019 Silver Eagle Award to one of our management team members. Stephen.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As Dr. McMorris said, what an honor it is to present this very nice award. Very capable and willing department head, but I just want to read a comment that was submitted. Of course, this is an award that is given as voted by the peers, and this was a very nice comment that I wanted to read. It says, this department head is very willing to listen and work with individual departments to address concerns. They work with large projects in the county. They are engaged in addressing solutions to problems that arise in our community. The department that they oversee is large, complex, and very somewhat challenging. This department head provides leadership that Cobb relies upon to move new paradigms, and this department head works in conjunction with the Board of Commissioners to address multiple agenda items per session. They can also be observed talking to constituents in Cobb County to answer taxpayer questions. Please join me in congratulating the 2019 Silver Eagle Award winner, Erica Parrish.
I promise I'll give that back to you, but you got to make some words.
Okay.
Bring your family up here. Come on, no, you're the heroes tonight. There you go.
Oh my, I am completely surprised by this. I don't have a jacket on even. So I was totally not expecting this. I'm very grateful and thankful. You know, I love Cobb County. I love being a part of Cobb County. I love helping to find solutions for our residents and our community. I'm so thankful to get to work with so many amazing employees of Cobb County, not just department heads that I can lean on and have that mentor me, but even, you know, I'm learning so much every day from everyone in my office, and I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for my family that has helped me through all this. They've been there behind me every day, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you. Thank you. Oh, sure. So this is my husband, Jason. We've been married 20 years almost. And this is Jonah Parrish. He just turned 15. And then my Sam and Abby, they're 11, fixing to start middle school. So thank you. Okay.
So is anybody going to be an engineer in the family? What do you?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thanks.
I don't know about the rest of the board members, but whenever I think of Erica, the word that comes to my mind is grace. This is a woman who does incredible things under pressure. She always has a smile and does it so thoughtfully, so a very popular choice. Commissioner Burrow, I believe you have the next presentation.
And I think the board's going to join.
Absolutely, a proclamation to the public safety team.
I know.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call up our awesome public safety team from our police, fire, 911, animal services, sheriff, and our canines are here. EMA, 911, come on up. Sign, yeah. Oh, I have to put the dogs first. Hey, Bill. Hey, Stuart. Hey, pretty girl. You know the canines are my favorite. Sorry, guys and girls. This Coda? Coda. Uh-oh. So much for social distancing. But everybody has on their mask. So, Director. How about Chief Cox? Where's Chief Cox? Where's Chief Cox? Can I have all the department heads? Sheriff, Destiny. Hey, Sheriff. Cassie. And the deputy chiefs. Scott, get up here. My main man, get up here. Okay. Well, we thought that, especially during this pandemic and all the stuff going on all over the country, but especially in Cobb, we would take time tonight to honor all of our law enforcement, first responders, and all the folks you see up here that put their lives on the line every day to protect us. So I'm going to read the proclamation. I'm the liaison commissioner for public safety this year, so that's why I get this special job tonight. And it's my honor to present this to the folks you see up here that are so well deserving of this honor and recognition. And we could never repay them. We can never thank them enough for what they do to protect us and the citizens of Cobb every day. So our thoughts and prayers are with you as you do your job daily. So, whereas COVID-19 first appeared in Cobb County in March, and as cases escalated, the Department of Public Safety and Sheriff's Office continue to provide the superior service residents, businesses, and visitors are accustomed to receiving. Faced with the uncertainties of the pandemic and despite facing challenges in their personal lives, including an increased risk of exposure to themselves and their families, the public safety team worked uninterrupted from the initial phase of the impact of COVID-19 through the county's limited operations and into phased reopening. I can't talk through the math. Whereas Cobb EMA was a founding member of the COVID task force and led the county's leadership team through discussions about the challenges posed by a pandemic. EMA activated and staffed the Cobb County Emergency Operations Center and immediately began to track and respond to requests for data, resources, and staffing, and established a countywide process to identify and address needs for personal protective equipment for those in critical roles. And whereas the 911 team became the first line of defense for first responders to receive vital protocol and health information about the incidents they were responding to. 911 worked with medical and state authorities to implement protocols in over 1,700 medical calls and identify possible symptoms on thousands of other calls for service and identity addresses with known COVID-19 cases across Cobb. And whereas despite many businesses reducing services, our police leadership, along with uniform officers and sheriff deputies, reported daily and answered all 911 calls for service. Detectives continued normal investigative activities, and civilian staff developed alternate methods of fulfilling requests for the public. All these efforts were conducted in a safe manner with the desire to fulfill and exceed the community's expectations. And whereas Fire and Emergency Services fully staffs 29 fire stations throughout the county, maintains emergency response times for first and apparatus to under 5 minutes, and adheres to CDC guidelines to minimize exposure risk to themselves and the community to maintain a mission-ready department. And whereas animal service officers reported daily to feed and care for the animals and ensure the continuation of veterinary services, to facilitate adoptions and rescues so homeless pets could have a forever home, and provide response to calls for service from the community. Now therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor the DPS team and are grateful for their dedication, service, and commitment to our county. This is the 28th day of July. Thank you, and God bless you. Do any of the commissioners want to say anything? Oh, goodness. Why don't you speak for public safety?
I'll just speak on behalf of the public safety, and then I'll let the sheriff speak on behalf of the sheriff's office. First of all, Commissioner Burrow, thank you for your guidance and leadership as the liaison commissioner to public safety through this difficult time. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to our county manager for her leadership during this pandemic as well, and to our entire Board of Commissioners for how you've supported public safety. But most of all, obviously the leadership that you see and hear, but where the real difference is made is those men and women who are out there in the street, and those 911 operators, your animal services, people who are out there actually getting the work done. Obviously we can't do what we do in public safety without those men and women's dedication. We've had to obviously alter a lot of our operational procedures through COVID-19, but that's what public safety does. We respond and we're there when people have no other hope. And so on behalf of all of public safety, I want to say thank you for this recognition and what they do. And we hope that the citizens recognize that when they dial 911 throughout this entire COVID-19 experience that we're still deeply involved in, of course, they got an answer, and that answer was, hello, how can we help you? And so with that, we have no idea what the winter is going to bring, but we're in preparation and working with our county manager and our board of commissioners now to prepare for that. And we just appreciate the support from our community as well. So, and before I hand the mic to the sheriff, I just want to say thank you to you and your team, you and Chief Allen, for the relationship that we have with the sheriff's office in working with you all in the courts, because we know that that's been a challenge. Hasn't, Colonel? So with that, Sheriff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, Commissioners, I want to thank you all for doing this. It's an honor to be up here representing the men and women of the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, and also Director. It was a pleasure to work with the men and women, not only with the police department or the agencies, but the 911 and the other agencies. I'm very proud of all of us, all of the men and women and of the law enforcement that serves the Cobb County. This was something that was out of our league, so to speak, and but I was real pleased that our team jumped on it real quick. Matter of fact, my command staff out at the jail, they had a quarantine center set up before they even started quarantine, because that was one thing that we did not want to happen, is that for something to get inside the bowels of that jail. We did a good job. Now, knock on wood, something may happen here the next day or two, but so far that has not happened. We had more staff that maybe encountered the test and encountered some of the virus, but most of that we found out was when they came back off duty after being gone 3 or 4 days. So we never could trace it back to the jail or on work area, but we did. They did. The troops stood up and took the challenge and did a great job. And I just want to thank the commissioners for supporting us and giving us an opportunity to serve the citizens. Thank you.
Okay,
I need y'all between the two flags, so we could.
I want the canines in front. Come on, Coda.
We'll bring you new ones back. They're all here.
I get it. Okay. On to the next part of the meeting, we have some public hearings, several of them. The first one is to conduct a public hearing for the proposed closure and abandonment of a portion of Lake Carica Road located in land lots 699 and 700 of the 18th District, second section of Cobb County. Before I open up this hearing, just remind everybody what the rules are. Unlimited number of speakers. Each speaker can speak for 3 minutes. And when you get up here, please let us know who you are. So before I open up the hearing, I'd like to hear from Erica.
Yes, sir.
You didn't bring your eagle with you?
Well, I'm watching it very closely. So yes, sir, we would like to request that the Board of Commissioners conduct a public hearing for the proposed closure and abandonment of a portion of Lake Serica Road located in land lot 699 and 700 of the 18th District, 2nd Section of Cobb County, and determine that said right-of-way serves no substantial public purpose and authorize the disposition and same by quitclaim deed to the adjoining property owner, Annabeck LLC.
Okay, thank you. So that, I now declare this public hearing open for the proposed closure and abandonment of a portion of Lake Serica Road located in land lot 699 and 700, 18th District, section of Cobb County. Would anyone like to address this motion? Would anyone like to make a comment about this proposed abandonment of property? Seeing none, I now declare this public hearing closed, and I now make a motion reflect the proposed closure and abandonment of the property as listed in the agenda item. Have a second? Any questions? Call the question. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Erica. All right, second public hearing is to conduct the third public hearing on the 2020 proposed property tax increase as defined by Georgia law. And I'll let Buddy Tazar make some brief comments.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. We are here today to conduct the third public hearing on the 2020 proposed property tax increase as defined by public law. Again, this is the third public hearing. The first hearing was held in this room on July 14th at 9 a.m. The second hearing was at a special called meeting on Tuesday, July 21st in this room at 6:30 p.m. And this is our third public hearing, third and final. So with that, I ask that you open the public hearing for the 2020 proposed property tax increase as defined by Georgia law.
Okay, thank you. And again, remind everybody of the guidelines, unlimited number of speakers, 3 minutes per speaker, and let us know who you are and you come up to address the board. So with that, I now declare open this third public hearing on the 2020 proposed property tax increase as defined by Georgia law. Please. Okay, seeing none, I now declare this third public hearing closed on the 2020 proposed property tax increase as defined by Georgia law. The next one is to adopt a resolution setting the 2020 millage rate for the Cobb County General the Cobb County General Fund, Fire Fund, Bond Fund, Debt Service Fund, and the Cumberland Special Services District Funds, CSSSD 2, and the Six Flags Special Service District Fund, otherwise known as SFSSD. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to you again.
Thank you. We would like to ask on our second agenda item today that you guys adopt the resolution setting the 2020 millage rates. Just to remind this board, the millage rates did not change from the FY19 amounts, and we are adopting the same millage rates that were in place for FY19 in FY20. So with that, I ask that the board adopt the resolution setting the 2020 millage rates for the Cobb County General Fund, Fire Fund, Bond Fund, the Cumberland Special Service District Fund 2, and the Six Flags Special Service District Fund.
Okay, I now move that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution that sets the 2020 millage rates for the Cobb County General Fund, Fire Fund, Bond Fund, Debt Service Fund in parentheses, the Cumberland Special Service District 2 Fund, and the Six Flags Special Service District Fund, and authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents. Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? So it passes 4-1 with Commissioner Gamble in opposition. Thank you. All right, the sixth item is to adopt a resolution establishing the 2020 Cobb County tax levy for countywide school construction bond purposes. And Buddy, I believe you still have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Our third item is to adopt that resolution that you were just mentioning for the 2020 Cobb County tax levy. This is an action that this board must take as the governing authority of the county. They must approve and ratify the recommending authority's adopted millage rate so that the tax commissioner, the levying authority, can collect those taxes. So with that,
Okay, and could you make very clear who proposed this millage rate?
Yes, that would be the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that, I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt the Board of Education resolution establishing the 2020 countywide school tax for maintenance and operation of schools, 18.9 mils, countywide school tax for construction bonds, 0.00 mils, Marietta property unannexed 1995 through 2004 at 0.00 mils, as required by law, and authorize the chairman to execute the millage resolution from the Cobb County Board of Education. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is to ask this board to conduct our third public hearing on the 21 proposed budget.
All right, so again, the same rules, unlimited number of speakers. Each speaker can speak for 3 minutes. Please let us know who you are. So with that, I now open up the third public hearing on the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. Would anyone like to address the board on this proposed budget? Seeing none, I now declare closed this third public hearing on the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. And I now move that the Board of Commissioners adopt the fiscal year 21 budget and authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents. Do I have a second? I have a second. Discussion. Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? So it passes 4-1. Commissioner Gamble in opposition. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you, buddy. All right, before I move on to the next topic, I really want to thank Bill Volkman and Buddy Tazar and all the budget team, really all of them, for their incredible work on this 2021 budget. They introduced new tools for the staff, and in my world, silence means consent. I didn't hear any noise, so it must have worked really well, the training session. But again, my hat's off to your team. This is not something simple. And I believe the board joins me in thanking you for all the hard work you've done in working with us and the staff and the elected officials too. So keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Okay, give me a second here. Now we have, I believe, public comment, right, Bill?
Yes, sir. We have two signed up for public comment. The first one's Monica Delancey.
Okay. Always great to have Monica here with us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you for acknowledging the public safety and police department tonight. As you're aware, August is National Night Out Against Crime Month. The first Tuesday has been designated as the National Night Out Day. But because of COVID, a lot of communities have been encouraged to observe National Night Out in October. But the Riverside community will observe National Night Out August the 4th, which is next Tuesday, at Parkview Apartments with a Movies on the Green. We will practice social distancing, and we will also take time to recognize Reverend Cole, Officer Cole. As you are aware, he was a huge supporter of National Night Out, and he organized the county's National Night Out for the past 2 years. So I will send reminders about that, about National Night Out in the Riverside community. I would like to take time to thank you to Chairman Mike Boyce for participating in our resources community call on Sunday. It was very well attended. A lot of the participants have had questions about resources, but also about job opportunities that Mr. Murphy was able to share. And thank you again for participating, as well as community members such as Ms. Cynthia Johnson and Sheila Edwards participated in that call as well. Our guest speaker, which was Ms. Bambi Hayes, she represented the Georgia ACT Coalition. She focuses on housing on a statewide efforts, and she reminded us that housing was a crisis before the pandemic. I want to remind you that Cobb County Magistrate Court, which oversees evictions, was seeing about 300 people a week in the magistrate court. And most of the people that was being seen in eviction court, which magistrate court oversees, were Black women. The National Low Income Housing Coalition states that Black Americans comprise 40% of people experiencing homelessness in 2019, even though they are just 13% of the population, according to the report. There was a housing affordability crisis even before the pandemic hit, and tens of millions lost their jobs. The National Coalition also reports for significant investments in affordable rental housing and emergency rental assistance to keep low-income renters stably housed during and after the pandemic. So the reason why I'm still here advocating for working families, because I was wrongly evicted from my apartment 2 weeks before Christmas on December 12, 2019. The Christmas tree was put out along with my kids. Even though my eviction was vacated, I was not allowed back into that apartment, and my case is now in Superior Court. Luckily, I was able to move to another apartment in the community, but not all families are able to recover as fast. I was a candidate for Cobb County Commissioner, District 4, as I campaigned for working families to have a voice at the table. With limited resources, campaign funds, I finished 3rd place out of 7 candidates. I had the least amount of campaign funds out of all the candidates, and the efforts to get to 3rd place was completely done grassroots. Not a lot of people saw my 75 signs. I did not have the ability to send out 1,000 mailers in the mail, but people voted for me because they knew my name and work in the community. The 5,000 votes I received was not in vain. Your vote for Monica was a vote for a call for better housing, better schools, better jobs, better communities, and most of all, a better quality of life for District 4 residents. Rest assured, I will continue to advocate for the needs of Cobb's working families, our children, as I always done. Our efforts, my efforts, have been noticed, and believe you and me, working families will be victorious. Thank you again for your prayers, support, and votes.
And Monica, what time is your event on the 4th, and which apartment complex will it be at?
It will be at Parkview Apartments at 7 p.m. We'll set up. Of course, the movie will start at 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Maureen Marie.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Maureen Myrie, and I am a longtime resident of Cobb County. I am the founder, CEO, and president of the STEAM Generation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Cobb, and we provide hands-on tutoring, camps, classes, and homework help, focusing on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Our mission aligns with the Cobb County government as we both seek to make Cobb County the best place to live by providing quality services. As COVID-19 continues to spread, the future has never been so unpredictable. Right now, we are doing everything possible to sustain daily operations and provide services to our community. While there's a lot of uncertainty, we know that we need to adapt fast to our changing reality. Now, more than ever, our community needs us, and we need you. The decision by the Cobb County School District to shift to remote-only education due to COVID-19 spread has caused us to step up our efforts to support our community. I am pleased to submit a proposal for urgent program support for the STEAM generation at a level of $35,300 through the CARES Act funds. We look forward to your support to enable us to provide a micro-school remote learning support programs for at-risk students in Cobb County. The objective of this program is to help low-income students successfully participate without being concerned about assisting their children in remote learning. By the end of the semester, students will have completed all assigned coursework and increased attendance from the spring 2020 semester. Our ability to execute planning process with some confidence about the level of investment made in our development will greatly enhance the productivity and eliminate success of that effort. It will reduce the need to focus on contingencies and alternative scenarios. Instead, we can focus our attention on determining how, in light of our resources, we make the greatest possible impact. We appreciate Cobb County Board of Commissioners taking interest in helping our working families by reducing the educational and economic impact of COVID-19. We appreciate your support, and we will hope that you will consider our funding request. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Chairman, that concludes the public speaking portion.
Okay. Just as for an admin note, before we get into consent, just want to let everybody know here and also online that we have moved consent item number 28 to the regular agenda tonight. And for those who don't have that motion in front of them, it's to ratify the action that the board took in executive session authorizing an agreement to purchase the Mansour Center for our Board of Elections. So that's going to be moved to a regular. We'll hear that at the end of the session here. With that, I make a motion that we, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
And Mr. Chairman, before you make a motion, I have one change for
Okay.
the zoning minutes, and basically the clerk pointed out, they already have it typed out. I'm just going to read.
Sure, go ahead.
What they've added.
Yeah.
So it deals with other business item number 12, and it basically just says, Mr. Peterson presented the applicant's request for a gated community for Abbas Adari. The public hearing was opened by Garvis L. Sams Jr. and Fred Wachter addressed the board. Following presentation and discussion, the following motion was made. Motion by Ott, second by Boyce to hold other business 12 until August 18, 2020. Board of Commissioners zoning hearing directing the applicant to provide the following prior to the next hearing. And this is the addition. The single letter with all stipulations, revised site plan showing how lots will fit with the front setback being 40 feet and the detention pond being moved as proposed, the landscape plan, and then show how the wall is going to fit on Paper Mill Road.
Okay.
So,
And we'll hear that next month?
yes,
Okay.
but this was just,
Right,
the
the
question
revision.
was whether or not they wanted it as a clerk's note or. and
No,
so
we should
this is what we
formalize it.
did
Thank you for
Right.
doing that. Mhm. So that I'll let Brad roll through the agenda items here before I make the motion for the consent agenda. And then you'll notice on 28, that's the one that will be moving to regular. Okay, with that, am I in trouble again?
No, sir, the clerk just reminded me, there's just a typo on item number 15.
Okay,
The initial date was May 30th, 2021. We've been provided a revision sheet that just actually identifies and acknowledges that May has 31 days in it, so it goes to May 31st.
does the board have to vote on May having 31 days, or is that?
Just the revision that it has
Revision,
31 days to be
checking
fine,
here.
so.
Are there any more revisions before I tighten my tie again? With that, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as revised. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Cupid, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chairman. The issue's been addressed. I'm good.
Okay, we're good? All right. Okay, any other questions, discussion? With that, I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. Passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the regular agenda. And the very first one is we're bringing back a agenda item to approve emergency funding for the Marietta City School System. So, Dr. Rivera, good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Yes, it's always good to see your smiling face. You're always welcome here, you know that. So,
Thank you for the time.
I don't believe there's been any revisions made to your original proposal.
I will acknowledge a couple, if I may, in
Okay.
what we submitted. Obviously, since I've seen you last, we have pivoted away from a blended approach to 100% virtual.
Sure.
So we adjusted a couple items. I'll bring two of which of note to you. One was bus transportation was initially factored in for the entire year. We pulled that back by 9 weeks, anticipating that potentially we would not need that bus service initially for the first 9 weeks.
Okay.
And we shifted that to substitutes and tutors, which is another line item because we're aggressively trying to secure community locations and opportunities in schools for face-to-face one-on-one tutoring, and would use staff, college students, et cetera, to make that happen. So there's been an adjustment there given the pivot to virtual learning.
I found it interesting that it was kind of fortuitous that you asked us to delay this by 2 weeks because of the fact that, you know, it's a very dynamic situation.
Yeah.
And in fact, by waiting 2 weeks, it was probably allowed you to better identify and focus on those needed essential items for your budget to help you with your program.
Yeah, I can tell you truthfully, I didn't know what I what I know now, I did not know then, but obviously I'm grateful for the chance to be in front of you and certainly able to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion and and then we'll have a discussion in case any board members have any more questions of you, okay? So I make a motion to approve emergency funding for the Marietta City Schools in order to provide a safe environment for in-person learning as well as expanded digital learning to support those families who may choose not to send their children back to school as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Do I have a second? All right, questions, discussion from the board? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Passes 5-0. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. I'm humbled and honored for your support. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to be partnered with you, Dr. Rivera. Best of luck out there. All right, on to item 31, which is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with our 6 municipalities in the county. And I'll let Dr. McMorris discuss that before I make the motion.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. I'll try to be brief. So this particular agenda is asking the board to approve an intergovernmental agreement with our 6 municipalities located within Cobb County for CARES Act funding that has been identified as necessary expenditures by our cities due to issues incurred by COVID-19. So as you all are aware, the board did approve several categories a couple of months back to include our schools, housing, rental assistance, and public health, as well as some of our countywide needs. In addition, a few months ago, or about a month and a half ago, the governor sent a letter to the Board of Commissioners strongly encouraging that the 4 counties that did receive CARES Act money push that money down to their local jurisdictions. With that, in that letter, the governor asked that we would provide those municipalities funding in a phased approach. After talking with the municipalities and sharing those conversations with you and them reaching out to you, we reached a different type of agreement whereby we would provide them 50% of the funding as directed and allocated by the governor. They all have agreed. They understand the uses and the purposes of those expenditures. They understand, as well as subrecipients of this funding, that the county is still ultimately responsible for this funding. And so therefore, I would like to make a motion tonight that the Board of Commissioners approve this request by our municipalities to receive CARES Act funding as designated in the MOU.
Okay. So that, I make a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with each 6 municipalities located within Cobb County for CARES Act fund allocations for necessary expenditures incurred due to COVID-19 in accordance with the MOU. We have a second. We have a second. Discussion. Commissioner Cupid, yes.
Just a question here on the revised agenda item.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
You may not have, I'm not sure.
I wonder if it's the appropriate one.
Do you have the orange one?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Maybe the orange one addresses, yes, it does
Yeah.
address. I see you modified the second half. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We ran out of colors in our rainbow for this agenda item.
Thank you, Chair.
First of all, I want to once again emphasize how important our partnership is with each of the 6 cities. And the second thing, as always, I want to commend the board for working with the mayors and also for Dr. McMorris for her timeless work with the city managers. This is a true reflection of what I call trying to find a middle ground. And we start out with one position and we moved to a place where we are now, where yesterday we had a really, really great discussion among the board members. But I thought that the work that Dr. McMorris and the city managers did along with the mayors, we made a very complicated issue. We summarized it in a very nice fashion. And my hat goes off to the county attorney's team for doing this, particularly Debbie. I know I give you a lot of grief on occasion, but, this is extraordinary work on your part, and I hope that you go and take this agenda out and you frame it. This is an example of what I believe governance at its best, and you had a large part in that. So with that, I call the question. All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you, Board. All right, on to number 32, which is to approve emergency funding for
I'll just start.
for a not-for-profit program. And with that, are you going to carry this motion?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
I'd like Dana Johnson from Cobb Chamber and Kim Gresh to come forward. Jay, you want to come too? I mean, you kind of lean it. No.
No.
Well, just so folks know, Dana, working with Select Cobb, has been managing the county small business grant program. And I have Kim coming up because Kim was instrumental in getting this written. She helped me write it. And then, of course, the unsung hero that you heard the chairman talk about was Debbie Blair, because she takes all of our stuff and makes it work. So Dana, do you want to talk a little bit about, while he's getting ready, everybody's familiar with our small business grant program, and it started off as for-profit with only those companies that had not received any other or outside government assistance. Last meeting, the board approved an amendment to that MOU to now allow companies that have received PPE, SIL, or SBA, and EIDL loans to be considered. And tonight is kind of the not-for-profit portion of the small business grant program. And so Dana's going to kind of walk you through. It's very similar, but there are a few differences.
It is very similar. I think the concept is to take $2 million out of the $50 million grant and then have that dedicated towards our not-for-profit businesses in Cobb County. And it would be similar in our push for advertising. It will, and I don't have the dates off the top of my head. I apologize for when the applications would open and close. I think it's August 27th to September 11th. Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. I just didn't remember off the top of my head, and I don't
Got a lot
have
of
it in
dates
front
flying
of
around
me.
right now.
So we'll be setting up another website and another application so that we don't have confusion between the for-profit and the not-for-profit businesses, so that we can try to make this as easy and expedited as possible. Obviously, there's some items that we required in the for-profit businesses that not-for-profits don't have. So it'll be different tax forms, it'll be different ways that showing kind of what the business is doing and how they're being impacted by COVID. And lastly, the selection committee would be different as well. We're asking, if this gets approved, that each of the board members select an individual to serve on the selection committee for the grants. So that we can put the group together to help go through all of the applications that come in, help with the funding levels before it comes back to the Board of Commissioners for final approval.
Thank you, Dana. And Kim, I'm going to let you say a few words, but just for those who don't know Kim Gresh, I mean, all you got to do is look around the community, and she's working at the Strand, she's working at this, she's working at that. She was just recently awarded for her recognition. And I just want to thank you for your hard work and helping get this to this point.
Thank you, sir. I think I serve on the committee for the for-profit businesses, so that's what really got me energized on this, was that we were leaving out a major segment of Cobb County that is really helping this community, especially during COVID-19. And being, as Bob just mentioned, I serve on several nonprofit boards. And I have watched us have to lay off people. I have watched us have ever-changing budgets. I mean, today at the Strand, we had our board meeting, and, we're down to a core of 8, as we're now calling it. We have no other hourly employees. Live Safe, same thing. We are now seeing more domestic violence, more sexual assault than ever before, as any of the people from that we just recognized tonight can tell you. And once again, our budget has dwindled and dwindled. So I think it's just really important that this county support the nonprofits or the not-for-profits with the definition of 501c3. And I think the reason we called this not-for-profit, it was just very much the other flip side of the for-profits. And so it's definitely, I think in all our hearts and minds, it is the 501c3s, the File 990s that we're talking about tonight. So I urge y'all please to consider the nonprofits. They are doing amazing work in this county right now and deserve y'all's support. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Dana. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve emergency funding for a not-for-profit grant program to be used by locally owned and operated not-for-profit businesses adversely affected by COVID-19 to improve unemployment numbers by providing cash grants subject to certain conditions, and to authorize the chairman to execute the Memorandum of Understanding and any other necessary documents for said purpose.
We have a second from Commissioner Burrow. Any discussion from the board? Commissioner Cupid, yes.
Hi, Dana or Kim. We've become familiar with this document because we've had it before us in our agenda. Can you just inform the public what the amounts can be awarded and for what employees here?
Here you go. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Kim. So, thank you, Commissioner Cupid. The tiers are based upon the number of employees. From 1 employee would be up to $2,500. From 2 to 5 employees would be up to $10,000. 6 to 20 employees would be up to $15,000. 21 to 50 employees will be up to $20,000, and 51 to 100 employees will be up to $25,000. So those are the different tiers that are existing.
That was based on full-time employees over 30 hours, is what that definition is described as.
Which is similar to what we had for
Very
the
similar to the
for-profit
for-profit.
Okay,
businesses.
thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Commissioner Burrow? Sure.
You will send us marketing materials to put this in our newsletters and online. I know we have till August 27th, but earlier, the better to get the word out.
Okay.
We're happy to do that.
And how soon do you need our appointees?
That would be happening as the grants are starting to come in. I would want to meet with them at least 1 or 2 times before that happens, so we can kind of like set the ground rules for how people want to evaluate items.
Give us a date, Dana.
I will email you all.
We don't have dates for the for-profit.
Let me email you with some estimated dates.
You're
for
building
that.
me a clock.
I will
what time
follow
it
up
is.
with you with an email, and it'll probably be within a couple weeks that I'll ask you to give me your individuals for the committee.
I think you may have 2 applicants that spoke earlier.
I think so, absolutely.
They would be good candidates. See them afterwards.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing I forgot
Sure,
to mention, and
right.
Dana did mention it. One of the other things that's unique about this program is Select Cobb has agreed to administer it at no additional
Oh,
cost.
that's hugely important. Thank you, Bob, for no cost, same cost. So, and obviously, everything's in place for them to do that. They have ready to roll with all the process and already intact and in order, so.
We're just happy to be able to help.
Good point. Okay, with that, I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is the action regarding the purchase of the Center for Family Resources. Is that going to be Janine or Sharon leading that discussion tonight?
It's going to be Pat Riley, my office.
Oh, neither one. Your name should have come right to my front. I apologize, Pat.
No apologies necessary.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager. We're here tonight to request that the board ratify the action taken in executive session to authorize a contract with the Center for Family Resources, Inc. for the purchase of real property located at 995 Roswell Street in the amount of $7,500,000. To approve the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement for purchase and sale attached to the agenda item. To authorize payment of associated land acquisition costs. to authorize closing of the purchase of the property as provided in that agreement, to authorize the corresponding budget transactions, to authorize entering into a license of the property with the Center for Family Resources, Inc., substantially upon the terms and conditions set forth in the license agreement attached to the item, and further to authorize the chairman to execute all necessary documents and take all other action necessary or appropriate to accomplish the foregoing purposes.
Okay, so moved. Discussion?
I got a comment.
Sure, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Waller.
I'm the one that asked for this to be pulled off. I just thought that, with purchase of property, it needs to be a regular agenda item, but received some questions and just, I know the chairman went out the same day I did, but after the primary, I went out and toured with Janine the warehouse where all the voting machines and everything are stored, and then we toured the current elections office. And my hat's off to Janine and her workers, because I don't know how they get it done in the space that they're given. And the county looked at many other locations and options, and this really is truly the best one. And we've heard a lot of comments about we have to get the elections right. Well, in order to get the elections right, we have to give Janine the tools that she needs to make it happen. And so I think that this is appropriate. The appraisals are done according to the law, and I know Pat, having dealt with him on many, many property purchases, especially the park bond money, I am very comfortable that we did everything the way we were supposed to. But the bottom line is Janine needs this space to get it done right.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Passes 5-0.
Thank you very
Pat.
much.
All right, the last item, and I'm gonna need some help here from the county attorney, is to vote on a pending motion to deny the alcoholic beverage work permit for Ivy Janice Treadwell Garcia. So I have all kinds of stuff here, but I need a lawyer to tell me, to walk me through this. So could Pat Riley come back up here? I mean, this is. I'm just kidding, Pat.
Chairman, as you recall, during our last public meeting, there was a hearing related to a server's permit. At the BOC at that time, there were only 4 members of the Board of Commission that were present. After the resulting hearing, it resulted in a tie of 2-2. Pursuant to the Board of Commissioners meeting rules, you then bring it back to the next available hearing for a vote. The commissioner who was not present at that particular point in time was Commissioner Gambrell, and she then now has the right to be able to vote on the actual hearing. My understanding is that she observed the hearing that was recorded, and it's now up to Commissioner Gambrell not to have any further hearing, not to discuss it any further, but just for her to merely vote on the pending motion before the board.
So your vote, Commissioner Gambrell, would be with regard on the pending, to deny the alcoholic beverage work permit. So.
And I support that motion.
Right, okay, so it passes 3-2 to deny the alcoholic beverage work permit for Ivy Janice Treadwell Garcia. Thank you. All right, do we have any more public comment? Bill? Okay, with that, I'll start with Commissioner Ott first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, Brad, we have some cool pictures, and so the first one, my assistant Kim went out and toured the new Windy Hill Terminal connector, and these pictures here are drone pictures that they take once a month. This is the only new road project in the current SPOST. It's going to connect Terrell Mill Road and Windy Hill Road, and it actually will connect Delk Road all the way down to the road that we see Interstate on North Parkway with the BMW dealership on 285. Chairman, you're used to pictures like that, right?
I am, yes.
A little high, but.
Who's that?
Okay, so I know, just to give you an idea how big this equipment is that they're working on. I'm not even as big as the tire. So, of course, they wouldn't let me drive it. I was so bummed. Okay, so the next, that's the last picture right there. Okay, the next thing I have is a really cool video. Go ahead, Brad.
Imagine you were born in 1900. When you are 14, World War I begins and ends when you are 18 with 22 million dead. Soon after a global pandemic, the Spanish flu appears, killing 50 million people. And you are alive and 20 years old. When you are 29, you survive the global economic crisis that started with the collapse of the New York Stock Exchange, causing inflation, unemployment, and famine. When you are 33 years old, the Nazis come to power. When you are 39, World War II begins and ends when you are 45 years old, with a 60 million dead. In the Holocaust, 6 million Jews died. When you are 52, the Korean War begins. When you are 64, the Vietnam War begins and ends when you are 75. A child born in 1985 thinks his grandparents have no idea how difficult life is, but they have survived several wars and catastrophes. Today we have all the comforts in our new world amid a new pandemic, but we complain because we need to wear masks. We complain because we must stay confined to our homes where we have food, electricity, running water, Wi-Fi, and even Netflix. None of that existed back in the day, but humanity survived those circumstances and never lost their joy of living. A small change in our perspective can generate miracles. We should be thankful that we are alive. We should do everything we need to do to protect and help each other. This message should reach everyone. Please help spread it.
So with that, the next slide is the message that the county is going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing on the billboards. I'll give you a chance to read it. Okay, before Brad puts up the final pictures, just kind of a word about this. Yes, it will definitely put a smile on your face. My assistant and I had a really good time putting this one together. There's a gentleman at UPS that decided to start a collection, to get the drivers to start a collection of the animals that they meet when they deliver packages. Okay, Brad. Look carefully. There are some unique goats and pigs and llamas. These are all taken by UPS drivers. And there are actually more dogs here than have been donated by Jay and his gracious program with Joanne. You like the goat with the tennis balls?
Dog with a hat.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Ott. Appreciate that. Commissioner Cupid?
Thank you, Commissioner Ott, for helping us keep things in perspective and helping us, recognize that we are still in the midst of a health pandemic and that our actions are impacting those around us. This Thursday, I will be holding yet another virtual meeting where we'll have an update from Public Health regarding COVID-19. And we'll also have participation of 3 of our sitting board members and our newly elected board member of the Cobb County Schools. So as we talk about the public health pandemic, we'll also be able to address a lot of the concerns that members of the public have regarding their children in education, which gets to another unprepared remark, but one that I think is important to recognize, and I recognized this yesterday. But in being mindful of those around us, for those of us who do have school-age children, this is not an easy time as we try to assess what is going to happen this fall. As schools are going to remain closed, there is a high level of concern amongst parents about what to do. And it kind of lays bare some of the concerns about school not only be a place of learning, but school also accommodates the ability of parents to go out and work. And the conflation of those two issues makes it very challenging when we consider what's going to happen in the fall. I know I've discussed this briefly at our meeting yesterday, but I share this publicly because it's something that it's been on my heart. It is on my heart. Just in full disclosure, my husband and I, we've been hybrid homeschooling our children for the past 3 years, where 3.5 years now, where they attend school part-time and have been home. So we feel like we're somewhat prepared. But even them being at home while we're in the midst of trying to work and just do day-to-day tasks is a lot for our family. And we consider ourselves to have a lot of autonomy in our work. So I know there's a lot of challenge going on with our communities. We've had a nonprofit come here before us with a proposal about how to help children, and I appreciate that level of sensitivity. We've had discussions amongst commissioners about what we're going to do. This does fall on the backs of the schools in some sense, but it really falls on the hearts of all of us who are leaders here in Cobb, because reality is this is going to impact not just our own organizations, but our communities and our neighbors. So for those who have ideas, thoughts, resources to assist in this matter, this is not a time to keep those close to your chest. This is a time for all of us to step up together as a community. One of the worst experiences I think I've heard of is when children are left in cars while you see mothers working. And this typically falls on the mom. You never hear about a dad working or it's rare that you hear about a father working and leaving children in the car. And as Monica shared today, a lot of stress falls on single parents and single mothers who are trying to work. In fact, there was a national news article about that yesterday. This is not just a Cobb County issue. This really is a national issue, but it's real. It's very real. And the last thing I want to hear is that something tragic has happened to one of our young people that we know could happen. So again, I don't have a monopoly on ideas, but I'd like to think that all of us coming together can do something. The reality is the CARES funding that we have was significant, but it only goes so far to address all of the issues laid bare in response to the pandemic. We still have a ways to go. So I'm hoping as we come together, as we have these discussions, virtual meetings, as we talk to leaders in our community, business owners, residents who care, that we can do something to protect our community. Commissioner Ott showed us a slide or a presentation of the stresses being different, from the years 1900s to today. But I assure you that the stresses of today are still extremely stressful amongst our communities, and particularly amongst our children, who should not have to, again, experience these things that we know are foreseeable for us to address. So again, for those of you who have the ability to help, who have facilities that you're willing to open, who have homes that you're willing to share with a neighbor, this is a time for us to not just open our hearts, but open up our pockets, our resources, our homes if we can, our time. Let's be mindful of those around us, and that we need to make sure we're taking care of our most vulnerable citizens, which is our very young people right now, as we're trying to figure out how do we move forward in this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrow.
Okay, well, we are up to 155 adopted animals from Cobb County Animal Shelter for veterans. And our benefactor of this program, Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets, is actually here in the audience with us tonight. So thank you, Mr. Cunningham, for being here, but also for your generosity and support of Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets. So just in this last week, we have had 3 more. This is Miss Bryant. She served our country in the U.S. Army for 4 years, and she gave this beautiful pit bull a happy forever home. And next we have Brad, Chief Judge Reuben Green and his family adopted 1-year-old Mari. I'm not sure what she is, but, because you can't hardly see her. Judge Green served a 4-year term in the Marines, and he's also leads our Veterans Court. So now he has a dog for his family. So it's great to see our veterans who've sacrificed so much and give back to others, and we're excited for all of them to take home their new best friend from Cobb County Animal Shelter. And our third recipient this week was Mr. Hernandez, 7 years of service in the Army National Guard, my favorite. You're once again a hero to this handsome Stafford. Thank you for sharing the smiles. So I know his family's happy too. And again, none of this would be possible without the generosity and support of Superior Plumbing and Mr. Jay Cunningham, and also the staff and employees at Cobb County Animal Services and our vet, Dr. Ballou. So visit us on Facebook, Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets. The next slide is the Sprayberry Community Food Drive. This is the last week at Piedmont Church. You can go by there tomorrow between 4 and 6 p.m. It's a drive-through food drive for families in the area, or they get people from all over. But after this week, it will be run by Must Ministries Summer Lunch Program. Okay, let's see. Through the end of the month, we have a special rate for cats at the Cobb County Animal Shelter, $20. Gets you a feline to take home. And the next slide, I'd like to offer condolences to the family and friends of Johnny Gresham. He was an outstanding football player, Hall of Fame at Georgia Tech. He became a successful real estate developer, launched Gresham Realty Company and Gresham Real Estate Advisors. He served in the Georgia State House of Representatives and afterwards served on numerous boards and was a founding member of the Cobb Marietta Coliseum and Exhibit Hall Authority, which oversees the development authority of the Cobb Galleria Center. He was 77 years old. He was a great man. And then also on a national level and local level too, Atlanta, I'd like to ask you to remember the lives of two great civil rights icons, Reverend C.T. Vivian and Congressman John Lewis. We thank them for their dedication and ask that you keep them and their families in your prayers. And then before I get to this slide, I'm throwing one in on Brad, sorry. The signs that you see, first of all, it was my honor to recognize our public safety team and law enforcement officers tonight. They do above and beyond on a daily basis, and we can never thank them enough and show our appreciation. The signs that you see along the dais here are signs that you can purchase to put in your yard to show your support for our police at your business. They're $20, and the proceeds, all the proceeds, go to our Police Athletic League for our youth. So you can see me afterwards. Actually, these are on loan from Commissioner Ott's assistant.
Well, you need to Commissioner Burrow, you need to recognize who started this. Debbie Fisher started this.
Okay, well, I got these from.
No, I know. What I'm saying is that she's the one that started the whole program.
Thank you. And last but not least, Be sure and sign up for all of our newsletters, cobbcounty.org/our last name. Thank you. Oh, the AJC did a great article on Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets in Sunday's Metro section. Thank you, Jay. I'm done. Sorry,
Commissioner-
Kelly. I'm done. Hey,
Commissioner
we need
Gamble.
some humor up here.
So all yours, Commissioner Gamble.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Continuing our This Is My Community that we've been doing in my newsletter, this week's pictures are of our DOT work crew out doing various tasks. I'm surprised there's not one of them eating cookies, because I've been known to see them along the roadway and go home and deliver cookies to them. So again, thank you to our DOT road crew for all they do to keep our roads safe. Senior services. I'd like to really highlight our senior services because they've done so much in our community during this past 4 months. And I'd like to highlight Awana Boba Nicholas Q. She is the division manager for senior services and presented the idea of having a drive-through for our seniors of Cobb County. As of July 16th, they have served 331 people. 357 food boxes were provided, 101 dairy boxes, 87 produce boxes, approximately 300 masks were given out, and 20 cases of water. And also this comes in part due to the donations that we've received from our constituents throughout the county. Also, Marlene Tippins, she is a program specialist who coordinates the collection of all the donations and schedules drop-off times for these donations. Jacoby Alexander, who is the nutrition manager, and she has rerouted all of their deliveries for Meals on Wheels to accommodate schedules of recipients and to make sure that the Cobb staff are able to deliver to all those who are on the list. Swanee Wilson, who is our transportation manager. You can go ahead and roll, Brad, thank you. And Tamira Dennis, our transportation supervisors. They've been adjusting all the routes to deliver Meals on Wheels as well and continue to offer demand response to seniors seeking rides to medical appointments. Allison Hall, she's our project technology manager. She continues to monitor the needs of each center as they plan for a safe reopening in the near future. Kathy Latham, who is our strategic partnerships manager. She makes sure that all of our information is shared with our staff, our partners, and on a county level throughout Cobb Communications. And also Sandy Panici, who is our deputy director, who works to ensure that we are operationally sound with all the changes to our centers, deliveries to seniors, and providing leadership to the staff. And of course, senior services is led by Jaton Gibson, and we thank them very much. That's all I have.
All right, so I want to close with just some very brief remarks. I want to commend the board for what it has done with the CARES legislation provided by the federal government. So, the needs are so great and the resources are so small. And the challenges that we were faced with trying to find an equitable allocation for these funds has been difficult. But once again, it reflects how careful this board is in two things. First of all, we feel the responsibility for the taxpayers' money regardless of whose taxes they are, whether the federals or ours. That we take this responsibility very, very seriously, and we want to make sure that we spend it appropriately, which is why sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find the consensus we need here in the board, but ultimately the board reaches a consensus, and in so doing, it provides the best use of those funds given the limited nature of them. So I want to commend the board for all it has done over the last 2 months to address the need of so many. And I realize this is a long journey. The board is very clear, very well knows that I'm very concerned about what happens here later in the fall as this pandemic moves on and perhaps some of these resources run out. Because as Commissioner Cupid said tonight, ultimately, the county looks to us for leadership. They do. I was struck by the number of emails that I received after we passed the allocation for the Cobb County School District, of how many people believe that we, the board, were responsible for actions by the school board. It's a continuing education campaign on our part to convey what this board can or can't do. But the bottom line here is that they're going to come to us. They don't know anybody else, quite honestly, that has the breadth and reach that needs to be we need to have to reach and touch so many lives in this county. And I just want to say tonight that I'm really, really proud of every one of you. You've done a great job here, and I hope that you tonight just take some time when you drive home and just savor what you have done on the last 2 months. And I know that we're going to be doing more as what we can. But I just want you to take some time tonight and think about the food programs, the rental assistance programs, the mortgage assistance programs, the small business, for-profit and non-for-profit, the mortgage assistance, public health, the cities, the contingency funds. You have done so much. And I'm really, really proud to be part of this board tonight. So with that, let's get out there and still continue to take care of each other and work together so that we can find a united effort to address the challenges that we're going to have in the days ahead. Because we're going to need the leadership of this board and our strength more than ever in the days ahead. So that, we're adjourned.